success. It's what we're all after, isn't it? Success in your career, success with your family, your community, your business, your relationships, health, finance, pretty much anything, right? But did you know that there's also a dark side to success? And in fact, without even realizing it, your current level of success may actually be sabotaging your ability to reach success in any other area or a higher level in your life. If you're feeling like you've plateaued or like you can't quite reach that next level of success no matter how hard you try or how hard you work, it's time to try something different. Get excited because you are in the right place and this episode is for you. This is part 2 of our 2-part series where I'm sharing 12 ways, 12, I know that's a lot because there's many ways, where your success is probably holding you back and I share what to do instead. If you haven't already, go ahead, go listen to episode 31 where I share the first 6 ways your success is getting in the way. Today, we're going to talk about the rest. But don't worry, this isn't all bad. This series is actually meant to help you look deeper within yourself. It's meant to help you have awareness, help you evaluate the success that you have had, look at what you want to do next and how to get there through a different lens. This is about figuring out what factors of what has made you successful so far you're going to bring along to the next level, and which ones your future self are going to require you to let go of. So if you've been successful so far, whether it's in life, in business, in relationships, whatever your definition is, but you can't seem to reach the next level of success in your career, your bank account, happiness, whatever it is, or you know that there is a next level for you, you got to listen up here. Between episode 31 and this one, by the end of them, you are going to have ideas of where you may be blocking your future success. Most importantly, though, you're going to understand how to eliminate those blocks so you can create more wins, reach the next level, and create more success that you desire in your life.
Welcome to the Goalden Girls Podcast, where we believe you can have it all. I'm your host, Lisa Michaud, and I'm spilling tangible tips, goal-getting strategies, and real-life stories to inspire you to tackle your biggest dreams. You're a woman who knows you're made for more. Get ready to leave the excuses and self-doubt behind by being vulnerable, sharing your truth, and having honest conversations so you can succeed on your terms. Together, we'll set goals you'll actually achieve by staying motivated, having fun, and building a community of women empowering women. It's time to tap into your best self, get confident, and truly have it all. Goalden Girl, let's dive in.
Hey there, Goalden Girl. This is part 2 in our Dark Side of Success series. I feel like I need a producer that can help add some sound effects in there, but I don't have one. So you just have to deal with my do. All right. Okay. Enough fun. So if you haven't already, I mentioned this is part 2. So go listen to episode 31. That's going to get you started. If you listen to that one and you're here now, let me just quickly recap. So the last episode, I shared 6 ways that your success is holding you back. And today I'm going to share 6 more ways and also give you tips, of course, on what to do instead. You're going to see where you're holding yourself back, get ideas on the types of habits you may need to create, and then go make that change so you can have the wins that you want in your life. Remember, this list that I'm sharing, there's 12, it's quite a few, but it's a non-exhaustive list. These are just the most common things that I've personally come across, the ones I've worked with my clients, and since you are exactly the kind of person that I love working with, I have a feeling these are going to resonate with you too. It is time to require, my friend, when your goal requires the next level, it's time for you to look at what to hold on to and what to let go of. That's what this is all about. So in the last episode, I shared 6 things that may be holding you back. Let me recap them for you. Number 1, you're comfortable. Life is comfortable, so you don't actually need to change. There's no urgency. And obviously to change that, give yourself some urgency. Number 2, you've been successful so far, so you think you should be able to figure it out, and you try and do it alone. Now, we did this a lot. We tried to do it alone with doing all the things and also trying to learn all the things. What I would say is don't do it alone. Outsource, get help, learn from experts, accelerate your timeline. That's what you need to do there. Number 3, you've got talent or you worked hard and now it's kind of easy. You're not used to things being hard. You're not used to the struggle. Shift yourself into a growth mindset and know that for you to get to the next level, you're going to have to learn. It's going to have to be hard. It's going to have to be challenging. Number 4 reason where your success may be holding you back is because you've forgotten what it's like to not know. You've gotten used to being good at it and you've forgotten how to suck. You've forgotten how to be a learner. So to shift that, you got to get ready to have a beginner's mindset. Ask a lot of questions. You might get uncomfortable, but you're going to suck at things if you're new to it and if you're getting to the next level. And that's a part of the process of success. Number 5, you still have old paradigms always being, and they don't cut it for the next level. You're going to have to change. You're going to have to change how you show up, how you act, what you're doing in order to be the next version of you. And number 6, if you're the smartest person in the room, you already know this. You are in the wrong room. So you need to get yourself in the right room by adding value to the right people, by investing in mentors or masterminds. You've got to find people. Make friends. I told you about my awkward little story of how I make friends on the last episode. Go do it. Put yourself in the right rooms with people and become the person who you want to be in rooms with. That's how you're going to attract them. Okay, so that was like a real quick synopsis, but that was the 6 things I talked about in episode 31. If you haven't already, go listen to that. If you listened, let's keep going. Let's chat. Here are 6 more ways that your success is working against you and holding you back and what to do instead. So, number 7 reason why your success is holding you back. You, consciously or subconsciously, wonder if you're deserving or worthy to have more. You think things like, I'm already so lucky. Shouldn't I just be grateful for what I have? I have a lot. Who am I to want more? Well, to that, I have a big F word, and you know which one I'm talking about. To that, in episode 12 of Goalden Girls Podcast, which is Goal Getting Without Guilt, the truth about big goals, I talk about the 2 coins. And I want to bring this up again because this mindset, I can't even tell you how many women I have this conversation with on a weekly basis. Here's how I see it when it comes to wanting more in your life. When it comes to goals, there's like a positive coin and a negative coin, or a healthy one and a toxic one, right? So each of these coins has a side that's enough, and each of them has a side that's big goals. And either one can be healthy or toxic or positive or negative. So let me talk you through what I mean here. So for example, you could be the kind of person who has big goals, and it could be because what you tell yourself is that you're never enough, that you're not doing enough, that you're not being enough, that you're not successful enough, that you should be doing more, that you must do more, that you're lazy, you're not productive, you're not doing enough. That could be what drives you to doing more and wanting more. But that's pretty negative. That's toxic. That's what we don't want. So that's the negative coin. On the other side of that negative coin is thinking that you have enough. And that is not, I'll tell you the positive side of this, but for now, work with me here. The negative side is this whole thing around, who do I think I am to want more? I should just be grateful for what I have. I have more than so many others. I have more than my family. I have more than my parents ever had. I need to just be grateful and just be in the spot where I am. It should be enough. I should like the job that I'm in. I should like my house, and I just need to be okay with it. Can you sense the energy of those two? Like, that is negative, and yet I know so many people are operating with those thoughts. Let me talk to you about the other coin, the positive, the healthy coin. The other side of the other coin is you have big goals because you have a desire to have a contribution, because you feel like there's more inside of you, because you are driven and you're excited about what you can achieve, that there's something in you that's like, I think I could write that book. I think I could speak on that stage. I think that I could be a really great landlord or entrepreneur or mom or community leader or politician. That's how you get driven in a healthy way or positive way. That's how we talk about goals and wanting more. And the other side of this positive coin is enough. Again, they're the same things. Big goals on both coins and enough on both. But this side, the positive coin, where we talk about enough, we talk about this in the sense of you have everything you need. That you're grateful for what you have, that you appreciate it, that you know how lucky you are. You're grateful for what you have in your life, and you revere that. And that's okay. That's a beautiful thing. This whole thing, what holds you back sometimes, what holds so many people back is from, instead of having that sense of enough and reverence for life and having that be a positive thing, it becomes a negative thing that holds you back. It's your inner critic, that inner voice that tells you that you already have too much. Who do you think you are? And that voice comes up as sometimes at any level of success, but that can come up and that can really hold you back. So if you ever find yourself thinking or saying things like, I already have enough, why aren't I satisfied? Why isn't enough? If you're making yourself guilty for what you have or guilty for what you want, this is the negative side. And this is probably holding you back. No, I'm just going to take the probably out. This is holding you back, my friend, because it is one thing to be happy and grateful for what you have and have that be a positive thing. It is another thing to say, who am I? I already have so much. I should just be grateful. That is holding you back. It is holding you back from bigger goals. And it is holding you back from just enjoying this moment because you're making yourself wrong for being in gratitude. You're not even allowing yourself to be in gratitude. Whew, I could go off on this all day. Go listen to episode 12 if you want to know more about this. And again, I'm not saying that you need big goals. Only you need the truth of this. But if you, authentically in your soul, if you want more in your life and your mind is telling you that you're selfish for wanting more, or the voice of your family growing up says you should just be grateful for what you have, there are people that have way less. Any of those toxic things that come up, you're never A, going to truly appreciate what you have, and B, really be able to go for what you want. I talk a lot about mindset in these episodes, most of my episodes, because it's so important. You need to work through those thoughts. You need to get yourself to a place where you can positively, whether it's decide to choose to go for big goals or decide to be grateful or hold both of those things, but you got to be on the right coin. Episode 5 of Goalden Girls Podcast is a great mini mindset class on how to reprogram your mind. So if this is something that comes up for you, or really any of these things, go have a listen to that episode and work through it. It's golden. Haha, I did not mean to say that. Okay, number 8 reason that your success is holding you back. Well, you start to fear success. And maybe you're thinking, Lisa, that's crazy. Why would I fear success? Who is afraid of having a fancy title, of having a wonderful relationship? Who's afraid of nice houses and lots of money? Woo, let's unpack this. Now, there are a lot of reasons. I'm just going to touch on some of the most common ones that I see. One of the biggest things I see is a fear. And this might be conscious or subconscious. By the way, this probably is not conscious. It's probably subconscious. Maybe you have a sense of it. Maybe you don't. But a lot of it ties back to not wanting to outshine those around you, or a fear of leaving others behind. There can be things that come up here around fear of being ostracized, fear of not fitting in, or like not staying humble. And I'm curious if any of these things are resonating for you, because they really do for me too. This is something I have to continue to work through. Think about, this is a way to think if this may be limiting you. Think about how successful people around you were talked about and treated when you were growing up. How did your family talk about it? How were people treated in your school class when they did really well, whether it was in sports or academics or in music? How were they treated? How did your family, if you had a wealthy uncle or a successful aunt or cousin, how did they talk about that person? Did they support it, or was there jealousy? Were they outcast? Were they ridiculed? Were they the black sheep of the family? Were they outcast in the school? And these things are so common. We see this happening. And this limits an incredible amount of women, myself included sometimes. I really have to work through this. Another way to think about this too, or one of the ways that we can fear success, is being afraid of what people are going to think about us when we get successful. And this can tie a lot to not wanting to outshine, or being fear of leaving others behind, or being ostracized. Having people think things like you've gotten too big, or that you've, quote, changed. You know the tone, right? Like that, oh, she's changed, or he's changed, right? And they don't mean it in a good way. Has that ever crossed your mind? Like you don't want to be you don't want to be the one that's changed. At least that's what we think. But at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, if what you have in your heart, your desire that you have, if it matters, then you've got to be the one that they say, she's changed. That's just got to be a part of it. And I know that this fear really holds people back. It holds me back too sometimes. I'll be completely honest. I don't know if this resonates for you guys, but I'm sharing from my experience. I remember hearing a lot of things around thinking that you're better than others just because you've been more successful. And that's just not true. It can be the other people's perceptions of it. And I'm sure there's some jerks that do act like this. But just because you're more successful doesn't mean you actually think that you're better than others. So, maybe the really right question here is, does anyone not fear what others think? I think this is such a thing that's born and bred into us. And it comes from evolution, right? Like back in the day, talking about like thousands of years ago, our entire survival was based on our community. It was based on fitting in. It was based on belonging. And so we had to fit in to continue on. If we were outcast, we literally would not survive. Like that's how dire it was. But in these days, today, I find so much more often that we are limited because we are so afraid of being ostracized, or we're afraid of not fitting in, that actually holds us back. So I want to say this, that like, this is normal if you feel this way. Like I said, I'm curious if anybody doesn't struggle with this, but I want you to be conscious of it. And it's just something that I'm on a journey on. I have to remind myself of too. I heard this last year and I just was like, oh my gosh. I really, you know what? I'm going to put this back on my desk as I'm saying this and remember this. But if you're not pissing people off, you are not doing cool enough things. That is just the truth. someone is going to be mad at you no matter what you do, you might as well make yourself happy. Am I right? So some of these things might automatically be resonating for you. You might be able to like, oh yeah, I heard that. I know what you're talking about, Lisa. Another way to check in and see if you may have fear of success is to see how you think about other successful people. Do you judge them at all? And if you're judging them, chances are you're judging yourself. Again, consciously or subconsciously. Do you judge them for working so much, for having so much money and not donating it, or for not spending it in the right places? Or do you judge them for what they would have had to give up to get that best-selling book? Or did you judge them for not doing a good enough job on the screenplay they wrote? What is it that you're judging people for? If you're judging someone else for it, that will not only tell you where you might have some fear or insecurity, but if you're judging someone else, you're not going to allow yourself to become it. No matter how badly you think you want it, you're going to hold yourself back. Let's talk about a few others. Limiting beliefs around time and money. Ooh, if I had $1 for every time someone brought this one up, how many of us heard you have to work hard for money growing up? There's so much. Oh my gosh, I could do an entire course on money mindset, but I'm still working through it myself, so I won't. But there's a lot that comes up around I have to work hard for money, or I have to work a lot to make more money. And a lot of people get caught up in what would it say about you if money came easily to you? What would it say about you if you made more money than your parents? That can often trigger some limits, and we can hold ourselves back because we don't want to be that person who doesn't have to work hard for the money. Because does that say you're lazy? Does that say you're not, what does it say about you? Another big one that comes up is fear of worthiness. Do I know enough? Am I smart enough? Am I good enough at this? Am I too poor? Not pretty enough? Not enoughness? So much fear of worthiness can come in. Am I good enough to really get to that level of success? Another one can be fear of desiring more. And on the surface, this may not come to mind as a fear because, like I said, of course we want it all. We want the mansion, we want the hot husband, the amazing job, all the money. We can Amazon Prime all that. Thank you. I'll take that. But this is a sneaky fear. And even though it's sneaky, it's still very real. And this comes across sometimes, or it can be a fear of coming across as being greedy or selfish. Often this feels, you can tell yourself this and trick yourself as being realistic or selfless. And a lot of those things, I kind of talked about it before, but it's a little different. Like, I'm already so blessed, I don't need more. Or how dare I want more? Or I already have a great life. Why would I think I deserve more? And remember, there's nothing wrong with appreciating what you have and feeling blessed. In fact, I say go for that. That's important. But the underlying tone in both of these messages of fear, it's a fear of desiring more, it's a fear of not being deserving, and a fear of not being worthy. There's a lack in there too. Like, how dare I want more because I already have so much? And if I have so much, then I'm taking away from somebody else. That's lack. That's scarcity. It could be like you're afraid that you're not good enough to have more. And if any of this is sounding familiar, you're not alone. I've talked to a lot of women about this. This is something, and men. These are the things that we learn and we absorb through society. This can also be your inner critic coming up, and it manifests itself as fear, as that knot in your stomach all over again. This is a very real fear. And I want you to know that you can have both. That you can be satisfied with your life and grateful, and you should be, and you can want more. So I encourage you to lean into your value, lean into what you believe is possible for you, lean into love, and not follow that fear. If you have any of those, and that's not even all of them, but those are some examples of fear of success, whether it's conscious or unconscious, if you have those, you are self-sabotaging yourself. You are not going to take action. You're not going to reach levels of success that you want to if you're afraid of it. Your mind is going to protect you in any way possible. Your body is going to protect you. The circles that you're in are going to protect you. They're going to keep you safe, which is they're going to keep you stuck exactly where you are. Again, this is where mindset work can really help. And even just, awareness is a great first step, but go listen to episode 5 of Goalden Girls Podcast if you haven't already. Go work through that. Work with a coach. Be in a mastermind. Get some support to help you uncover and rewrite your mindset and attitude towards success. Because you'll never, ever do anything that you're judging yourself for. You won't let yourself do that. And my friend, if you really want your success, you can't be afraid of it. Okay, number 9, reason why your success is holding you back and what to do instead. You hide your success and you dim your light. Now this one ties to one above. If you're afraid of success for any reason, chances are you might be hiding it. And this actually limits you because no one knows what you're doing. The impact of this, let's talk about some examples. What is the impact of this? Well, if you have a business, you're not asking for testimonials and you're certainly not sharing them. You're not sharing the great work that you're doing on your website or social media. You're not asking for recommendations. You're not getting the sharing what the great things are that you do. If you're in a corporate job and you have this fear of success, then you're probably not tooting your horn at your performance review and you're not telling your coworkers or your boss what you're up to. And that is not going to help you reach the next level. If you don't share what you're up to, even like in your personal life, like that you run half marathons or that you're learning to play the saxophone or you're a salsa dancer or whatever that is, well, when people don't know, they can't help you and they also won't be able to support you. So when people don't know that you're doing great work, they don't hire you. When your boss doesn't know what you've done, you don't get the performance review that you deserve. You don't get then the promotions and the opportunities that you think you deserve. Your coworker, like you miss out on opportunities even with friends, or coworkers. If they don't know that you are learning to play the saxophone, they don't invite you to come jam with them, right? They don't ask you to come run with them. You get overlooked. You don't get the opportunities that you in fact deserve. When you are afraid of success, you end up hiding it and dimming your light. And that limits where you're able to go. Your success and your progress, they stagnate. When you're confident though, when you're confident with your existing level of success and your future level of success, then you can shine it. But until you do that, you're actually going to be stifling your growth because no one knows how awesome you are. So if you're listening and this is resonating, right now, I want you to look at whatever goal it is that you have, and I want you to decide to toot your own horn in the next week. That's right. So if you have a business, you're going to share some testimonials on your social media or your website. You're going to ask for a positive review on Google. If you're in a career, you are going to start yourself a folder I called mine Lisa Rocks. You can use your own name there and get some great reviews from people that you've been working with. Share something that you're celebrating with your boss this week. Whatever that is, this week, toot your horn. If it's something that you've been doing in your personal life, share it with your colleagues, share it with your partner, share it with a friend. Be confident in what you're doing this week. This is my challenge to you. Do not dim your light. And also, as you go and do this, as you go toot your own horn, as you celebrate, pay attention to what you feel and what fears are coming up, what thoughts are coming up. And then you know exactly where it is that you've got to go and what mindset you need to turn around so that you can really shine your light and so that you can stop being afraid of success and go get whatever that is that you're looking for. The number 10 reason why your success is holding you back is because you focus only on strategies, tips, and how-tos, and you never go deeper, and that holds you back. We've talked a lot about mindset. I'm going to keep talking to you about it. Here's the truth. When you desire to achieve something new, you fundamentally have to become a different person. This means you have to change your mindset, your habits, and your actions. So let's first talk about actions, because yes, you do have to change that. So to a certain extent, you do need to listen to tips and strategies. It takes a certain behavior to get great performance reviews and then get promoted. It takes different tasks and behaviors to be a great leader once you are a manager to then become a senior leader or a senior manager or an executive. It takes certain behavior to take a leap and start a business. It takes different to grow your business and to scale your company and to sell it if that's what you want to do. But you also have to go beyond that because that's just not enough. I was having a conversation with a fellow entrepreneur the other day. She was telling me about how she's been stuck at the same level in her business for 4 years, and she was super frustrated. She couldn't figure out what was going on. She was showing up consistently. She was growing her team. She worked with one of the top coaches in her industry, and she still couldn't seem to break through. So I asked her if she knew what it was actually going to take to get to the next level in her business, and she said yes. Here's the thing. I'm going to just poke in here. Most of us know what we need to do. You probably know what you need to do. We did some digging with her, and it turned out that there was one key thing she needed to do to make a difference. She'd been doing all the other things, but there was this one thing that she was still really hesitating on. She told me right away that she didn't have the money for it, and then she realized that she'd been lying to herself about that. Just recently, she'd actually encouraged her husband to invest thousands of dollars on himself, but she had a double standard for herself, and she was not willing to do the same for her. So we did some more digging. When I work with people, we do a lot of like whys. Why this? Why this? Why this? We get to the deeper. And as we did the deeping, she realized she had a severe fear of failure in this one arena. She was willing to invest in other things. She was willing to invest in her husband. She was willing to show up and do other work, but not this thing, this one thing she was really afraid of. Now that she knows that, she is working through it. Can you believe it? Like, of course, right? Sometimes awareness is so much. She can use any of the strategies that I share in episode 5 of this podcast to help rewire her mindset. Even after our conversation, she was like, oh my gosh, this is so silly. I can't believe I've been doing this. I'm getting over it and I'm investing in myself, in this thing. The point is, though, that if all she'd been doing was just continue to try and follow strategies like she's been doing for the last 4 years, even though she's been showing up consistently, even though she's been doing some great things, she was still stuck. This is when we needed to go beyond a strategy, because even when you know what you need to do, it doesn't mean you're always doing it. We need to go beyond the tactics and figure out what's actually going on behind the scenes. We all have these things. We all have stories we're replaying in our head, limiting beliefs we have. We are all blocking ourselves. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see people making, thinking that you just need to work with another expert that's done it before. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of value in that. I mean, I just told you in the last episode that that's a big mistake to not work with experts. There's a ton of value. Our real estate mentors have been very helpful in showing us the way. But truthfully, 90% of what we're learning from them is their mindset and their attitude and the way that they are tenacious in showing up. And I combine that I'm learning with the coaching that I do for myself and the coaching that I get. And I combine that with the how that they do teach. But let me tell you, a lot of what they're actually sharing, I can't always duplicate all of them because we have different situations, and you're going to find this everywhere else. So what I'm mostly learning from them is mindset. And that's where we need to go to. We need to go beyond the strategy and tactics. Here's the truth that not a lot of experts will tell you. Let me just quickly say, this is not about like talking to your accountant or your lawyer or a doctor about health things. This is about different kinds of experts, people that have been there before. Even if you know exactly what someone did, even if you know exactly what a social media expert has done, even if you know exactly what I've done with my real estate or somebody else has done, or even if you know exactly how I progressed in my career, you're never going to be able to perfectly replicate the when and the how of what I did. Never. Because this moment, the opportunities that I've had, that person has had, that the other person's had, they're all different and we're never going to be able to replicate it. So we all need to, and if you're listening to this and you're plateaued, you need to go deeper than just strategies and tips. And if you're still operating on this level of like, oh, I'm just going to follow the step by step to get there, you're never going to get there. If you asked 100 gold medalists how they did it, how they got to the gold medals, you're going to hear 100 different routines, 100 different paths to get there. There's going to be some similarities for sure, but the countries they come from, the era they compete in, the sports they compete in, that's all going to be so different. You can't just operate on strategy alone. If you asked 100 different best-selling authors, like, what was your exact blueprint? How did you get a bestseller? You're going to hear different answers and different paths. Some will have had successful businesses and then wrote a book about it. Some will have had big tragic losses and wrote something about it. Some had ghostwriters help them. Some wrote for 20 years with no one reading a book before they wrote until all of a sudden they had one hit the bestseller list. It's not always about the step-by-step. And if you want to get to the next level of success in any area, you've got to look at mindset work. Now, if you are working with an expert, whoever you choose to work with, make sure they're incorporating this, or work with a coach, or join a community like Goalden Girls when it opens, so that you can be surrounded by others who are also evaluating their mindset, others who are also leveling up, challenging themselves. And hey, if you're not ready to invest yet, that's okay. That's all right. We're not all ready. That's why I have this podcast. I want you to listen to these episodes. I want you to start making progress now, and not necessarily only when the program registration opens for anything, okay? And maybe this time around, it won't be the right time. What I want most for you is to just get started, okay? So go listen to episode 5 and do this work. Like, that's a free way to do this. I give you seriously a mini mastermind or mini mindset class in there. Go do this work. Get your journal out. Talk this out with a friend or a mentor. Just promise me you'll stop focusing on just tips and strategies. Figure out where your mindset and beliefs are keeping you stuck, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, and rewrite them. I recently heard an awesome Marianne Williamson quote that I just love that I'm going to share that resonates right here, which is, let go of your story so the universe can write a new one for you. That's what it's going to take, my friend, to rewrite your story, and I know that you can do it. Okay, last 2 things. I'm so excited. Okay, number 11. You achieved success, but it wasn't what you wanted. It left you feeling empty. I got a few stories on this. One of them is one of my friends, Allison. She's a brilliant girl. When she was in her 20s, she said, I'm going to be 30 and I'm going to make 6 figures and I'm going to be a manager by the time I hit that age. And of course, she's smart. She knew what to do. She got it done. She was all of those things by the time she hit 30. By 34, she was burnt out. She was exhausted and she was unhappy. And she was extremely confused because she was like, well, I achieved success. I got what I wanted. Why am I so miserable? And when she did some reflecting, figuring out, she realized that she didn't even really like leading people. She just thought she wanted to be a manager because that's what you're supposed to do, is move up. She didn't like managing people or being a people leader. And when it came to money, she had money, but she didn't actually get quality time to spend with her husband or to travel or do things that she wanted to do. So both of these things that she had that she thought she wanted, these goals that she'd set, were actually not even giving her what she wanted. Often when you know what you don't want, it can also give you a lot of clues as to what you do want. So what she realized was, okay, she didn't want to be leading people, which means she wanted to be an expert, a specialist in what she was doing, instead of having to worry about all the delegation stuff. And when it came to money wasn't obviously what she wanted. She wanted time freedom. And so she was able to figure out a new goal and figure out a new definition of success that was hers and hers alone, which took her a few years because these things, big changes always do. She transitioned to a different role for a while. Her and her husband saved up their money. They also ended up building a real estate empire, and they were able to retire really early in their, I think it was late 30s. And now they sail around the world for a couple months every year. They enjoy their time. Their real estate ends up paying it. They work odd jobs here and there, and they're so happy. That is success. That is success that they actually wanted. What I see though so often is people hit success or hit their goal and then wonder why they're empty. And it's because you haven't set the right goal. It's because you didn't actually know what it was that you wanted. And to combat that, always, always, always go back to how you want to feel and craft goals from there. I have another client recently who recently hit 6 figures. Like, super exciting. It was a huge goal she had for years. And she was like, I don't feel any different. I'm still burnt out. I'm still confused. And she's revamped her goal. Because it's not about the money. For her too, it's freedom that she wants, regardless of the dollar figures. What she realized is that her 6-figure mark, it was meaningless because she was still tethered to her business and tethered to other people's expectations. So check in with this, all right? You may have achieved a certain level of success. You might be coming from a place of, I ticked all the boxes. But if you've plateaued, maybe it's because you're standing on the wrong mountaintop. You got to check and look back sometimes and make sure you're still climbing the right hill. Go back to how you want to feel, what it is that you truly want, and craft your goals from there. Define success based on how you want to feel and what you want to experience, and make your definition of success yours alone. Okay, the number 12 thing, the last thing I got here, and again, these are in no particular order. You're afraid of failure. Whew. Okay, here's the thing. Sometimes I think after you have some initial success, fear of failure actually gets worse. I've noticed that when you have nothing to lose, you have nothing to lose and you don't fear anything. But once you have some success, it can be a little bit scarier. I'll give you an example. When I first started my business, I got so much positive feedback on my first few blogs. And I got so much good feedback that I was actually scared to write more. I was like, what if the next ones don't go as well? What if people don't like it? What if people unsubscribe? These are seriously the things that went through my head. Like, I was terrified. Obviously, 4 years later, I had to get over this and realize that some of my emails, some of my blog posts, some of my social media posts are going to flop. They're going to fail. Someone isn't going to like them. People are going to unsubscribe. There's going to be less popular ones. There's going to be, quote, failures. I found that the same thing happens with so many people, that you get some success and then you're afraid of failing. You're afraid of losing it, or you're afraid of people seeing you fail. This happens to authors after they get a bestseller and then they have to follow that up with another book. How do you do that? Or if you've got an Oscar win, how do you follow that up? Or, maybe you've got enough money that you're comfortable. Like, how can you now risk that? Maybe you don't want to risk not being able to pay your mortgage or not being able to give your kids the future you want. This is the funny thing, is that sometimes we think, I've seen this work both ways, that when you have nothing, you're not afraid. But I've also seen people say, I'm not going to try something until I have some stability. But those same people, often when you have the stability, then you also get afraid of losing it. This is where the awareness is. This is not about having a perfect track record. That's not something that we should be aspiring to. Having a life you desire, that you feel on purpose with, that you're enjoying, that's what you must aspire to. That's what's worth it, right? You have to fail your way to success. And Winston Churchill, I love his quote, "Success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm." If you can't remember the last time you failed, then you're too comfortable and it is time to fail. This is kind of like if you haven't pissed someone off lately, you're also not doing cool things. So if you have reached a plateau, or if you know that there's a next level for you and you're not getting there and you're not pissing people off or you're not failing, I just gave you 2 really easy, solid places where you're holding yourself back, and that's what's keeping you stuck. So it is time to fail, and it's time to piss some people off. Here's an example, really simple, of what you can do. One of the things that I have set out to do, and I started in 2019, is to do 50 failures a quarter. So approximately 20 a month, basically almost every day. I want you to challenge yourself. This quarter, I'm actually challenging myself to fail 100 times because I've got some big goals. I know that I need to break through, so that's what I'm going for. This is my challenge for you too. Don't just listen to this episode. Actually go and implement these things. Try. Maybe you don't have to try 50. Maybe you try, 10 failures a month. But I guarantee you, if you're not failing, you're too comfortable and you are not going to get to where you want to go. And my friend, I care about you. I love you. I want you to get results. So I want you to start failing a heck of a lot more. All right, there is 12 ways that you are blocking your own success and what to do instead. Let me just sum this all up. Number 1, you are too comfortable and you don't actually need to change, so you don't. Number 2, you've been successful so far, so you try and do it all alone. Number 3, you have natural talent or you're good at something, and now you're not used to things being hard. You're not used to the struggle. Number 4, you've forgotten what it's like to not know, and you're not used to sucking, so you've forgotten how to learn, you've forgotten how to suck. Number 5, you have old paradigms and old ways of being that aren't cutting it for the next level. Number 6, you're always the smartest person in the room. Number 7, you consciously or unconsciously wonder if you're deserving or worthy enough to have more. Number 8, you fear success. Number 9, you fear your success and you dim your light so you don't outshine others. Number 10, you focus only on tips and strategies and never go deeper, and that holds you back. Number 11, you achieve the success, but it wasn't what you actually wanted. Number 12, you're afraid of failure. That's a lot, hey? Let me boil this down to something succinct for you. To reach your next level, no matter what it is, whether it's more freedom, more love, more joy, more time, more money, it's going to require you to change. Change what you do, change how you think, change who you surround yourself with. Mel Robbins, I've got like a lot of other quotes that are coming up today because they're just so good. Mel Robbins said, the price of your new life is your old life. Fire, right? Like, are you willing to give up your current life for what's possible for you? And if you're not, then that's okay, but don't make it harder for yourself. And if you're willing to give up your current life for what's possible for you, then you are in the right place because this is what it's all about. I talk a lot about mindset and I talk a lot about community in this episode and on my podcast for a reason. Because when women come to me and they're stuck and plateaued, and when I have found myself being stuck and plateaued, this is what makes the difference. Chances are, I'm guessing that you probably know what it's going to take. You probably know the actions to take, what you should be doing, but for some reason, you're not doing it. And chances are, it's probably one of the 12 reasons, or maybe 5 of the 12 reasons, maybe all of the 12 reasons. Either way, I want you to get to take action on the things that are going to move the needle for you. The things that are going to get you off of this plateau, that are going to get you climbing the right mountain if that's the problem. And taking the next step towards what you desire, whether it's a thriving business, the freedom to stay home with your kids, or a vacation home, or whatever it is that you're looking for. To be successful at that level, you have to recognize that your goal, what is going to require at the next level, you have to see that, look at what you currently are doing that you need to hold on to, and what you need to let go of. Being able to shift this and how you show up, being surrounded with the right people, that's what helps you create change. I know that you've been successful so far. Life is comfortable and you feel like you probably should be happy, but something is missing. There's a reason why you're here. You're listening to this episode because you're feeling one of 2 ways. You're bored, you're stuck, you're adrift. You don't really know where you're going. You're a little directionless because something is missing and you don't know what or how to get there. Or you've got these big ambitions, you know what you're working towards, but you're exhausting yourself, you're burning out, and you can't seem to get further. And all of these things feel really overwhelming because you're already exhausted and your energy is low and you don't know what's happening. You don't know how to get through it, but you know what you're doing isn't working. And that is why I created Goalden Girls Mastermind. If you have plateaued, if you are stuck, if this is what you're feeling like, this is for you. Or even if I should have said this before too, like if you have a new goal, a new level that you're working towards, and you think any of these blocks might get in your way, be proactive, my friend. Get ahead of this. Come into our mastermind. Goalden Girls Mastermind is for the woman who loves the intimacy and accountability and mindset shifts that come from working with a one-on-one coach with the network, collaboration, community, and support that comes from a mastermind. So if you've never heard of a mastermind before, I'll probably do an episode on it because I know I've been getting a lot of questions about it. But a mastermind is basically a group of people that come together, and the idea is that you get to draw from everyone's mind and not just your own. What's unique about Goalden Girls Mastermind is that it's not just a group of people chatting, but it's actually structured. And I combine content and the structure of an online course in personal growth with the mastermind, with the coaching. So we cover topics like how to set goals, mindset, time management, habits, balance, productivity, and a whole lot more. And we combine that with community, with collaboration. And of course, you got me to kick your butt with some coaching and accountability. What I love about it and what I think is so unique is that it's at 3 in 1. And that's what I wanted to create, was something different. A blend of a traditional mastermind, the one-on-one coaching, it's group coaching, but you get to work with me, and personal growth course. So what's really cool about this is that you're going to get the support to create a growth mindset. And you're going to learn a whole lot more about this. You're going to figure out what it's going to take to get you to the next level. You're going to get the accountability and the support to take action, because it's not enough to just know. You actually need to be able to do that, to step up in your career, in your family, in your health, in your community, in your business, in your life. You're going to get in the room with the right people, with people that are so brilliant. And every year I'm just blown away by the level of women that are in there. We're going to help figure out why you may not be as happy as you want to be. Figure out what it is that you want and get you a plan to get there. A plan that doesn't overwhelm you. And probably most of all, because we do this over 6 months, we keep you moving through fear. I challenge you. We challenge each other. And I literally just get so excited sharing this. I care so deeply because I know what happens if you don't keep going. I know that if you don't take action, that if you just listen to this and you turn off this episode and you don't think about it again, well, in 1 year, you're going to be in the exact same situation. You're going to continue to wonder why you can't crack that next revenue goal, why you're finding yourself bored at work, or why your relationship feels more like your roommates than your lovers. And I know that if you're here listening, there's something in you, there's a lot in you, and you're not willing to make that happen. So this year, our mastermind is going to run from January to June 2021. Pre-registration is happening right now. That means it's like early bird, so it's some great discounts. If this episode just came out and you're listening at the beginning of November, send me a DM. Let's chat. If you are listening later, let's say maybe December, send me a message and I'll let you know, because I don't know if spots are still going to be available. This group is super limited, no more than 15 women, and I have a feeling that it might sell out this year because I've been getting a ton of messages about it. And I'm also going to say, if you're listening like in future years or after basically December or when it's sold out, hop onto the waitlist, lisamichaud.com/mastermind, and you'll be the first to know next time when it opens up. For this year, I didn't want to do like a big splashy launch in November, maybe not at all. I just want to open up to loyal listeners, people that I believe this can really serve, and that's you. So I'm going to send a few messages to people I know are interested. I'm chatting about it here, but that's how we're getting started. So if you want to know more, send me a message. You can also go to lisamichaud.com/book-a-call to, book a call. This feels important to say too. I'm not a sales pitchy person. This is, if you book a call or if you send me a message, it's just a chance for us to connect. This is not about me making you or forcing you into a program. If it's not the right time, if I don't believe it's the right fit, I will tell you. And if it's not the right time now, maybe next year will be. But this is a chance for us to connect, for me to know what it is that you're looking for. And I will give you the honest truth about whether I think our mastermind can help you or not. So if you're listening to this and you're interested, go ahead, go book a call before the spots sell out, or message me. They are limited. We might even sell it before I even announce this publicly, which would probably be close to the end of November. So if this is for you, I don't want you to miss out. You don't want to miss out. Let's connect. I can't wait to hear from you. So now, my friend, you know how your success might be holding you back, and you know what to do about it. I hope you've been able to look deeper within yourself. I hope that now you're able to evaluate the success that you've had, look at what you want next, and how to get there through a different lens. You now know where you might be blocking your future success, and most importantly, you know how to eliminate those blocks so you can have the wins that you want and create the success in your life. You've gotten this far, okay? Like, you are brilliant, you are talented, you are amazing. Remember that this is only about the next level of growth for you. It's not saying that there's anything wrong with you. This is just about where you're going next. You are capable of anything and everything, and I want you to use your success so far as evidence of what is possible for you, and let it fuel you to create everything you dream of and more. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hop on into our next episode. Our next one is going to be all about our real estate journey. Super excited and nervous to share about it. Here we go. Doing something scary, getting uncomfortable. Thank you again so much for listening. You are truly amazing. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for listening. If something spoke to you, send me a message by sharing this episode and tagging me on social media. If you know someone who would love to hear this episode, please share it with them too. Because I love surprises, make sure you subscribe to the Goalden Girls Podcast today. It's the only way to find out about bonus surprise episodes and make sure you don't miss a single beat on your golden journey. Thanks again for listening, and I will talk to you in the next episode of the Goalden Girls Podcast.